Hey, hey, and welcome to another Podcast Valley Sunday. I am one of your hosts, Chris Paco.
And I'm your other host, Jeff Cameron.
How's it going, Jeff?
Pretty rad and a little tubular. How about you, Paco?
Sweet. Going sweet, I have to say. Things are good for all you people out there. Jeff and I actually got together recently. It was my birthday, and he came and visited. I really wanted us to do this show in the same room together, but we just didn't have the time to pull it off.
No, it was not going to happen. It's always a tight schedule, but it was good to see you. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thanks.
A good time, as always. The elite kitchen hangs at the old Paco place.
Yeah. It's always good times. And yeah, no matter what, we open up the whole house, and everyone just goes in the kitchen.
For real. Back to what we do here at Podcast Valley Sunday.
Yes. And what we have is a special episode today. We're traveling back to the wonderful year of 1989.
Yes.
Which I don't know if everyone thinks it's a wonderful year or whatever, but it has a good ring to it for me. So yeah, we're going to be talking about a couple Monkees appearances. We'll let you know where you can find them. It's some talk show appearances that the three boys did in 1989. And we'll let you know what they are so you can check them out on YouTube, because us just talking over them wouldn't do them justice. You should really check them out.
For real. And the reason we're doing 89, even though it's kind of like it seems like an off year to be talking Monkees stuff, but like just in our research for the show and what the clips that were led to, a couple of them were like the first one we're going to see came up just randomly. I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this somehow. And it's from 89. And then we found the second one kind of came up, and then we started talking about certain performances in the comment section. And this one is from 89. So we're like, let's talk about Monkees 89 and see how it fits in the scheme of things. It's not a year we talk about a lot when we talk about the Monkees.
Yeah, it is a weird Monkees year because Pulak comes out, 87? They had their big comeback 86. And then there's kind of nothing going on until 96 when Justice comes out. So It's odd that in 1989, they were doing a major media push for
they were
some
doing
reason.
A lot of touring and stuff, and obviously on TV a bit. But there's kind of a tail end of it vibe to what they're doing. They seem a bit weary, but they still put on a good show, and they still have a laugh here and there. And it's still fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely entertaining. And
as always.
So for me in 1989, I was 11 years old, and that summer was when I was first exposed to the Monkees TV show. I would go to my grandma's house, and in the mornings, and on this one channel, I think it was like channel 49, like a weird Buffalo channel you could only get if you didn't have cable.
Oh, okay, yeah. This was before the Much Music times when we really, really got into it.
Oh yeah, this was like it. I didn't know that the Monkees were, when I was watching it then, like were a show first. Like I thought, obviously the Monkees are better than the Beatles because the Monkees got a TV show out of it, and I thought they were a band that then got a TV show.
What'd the Beatles have? A lousy black and white movie? Come on.
Exactly. I didn't even know they had movies. I didn't know anything about the Beatles. Just I know they didn't have a TV show that I was watching every morning. And so that was like, I remember Steppin' Stone. I loved that song so much from the TV show back in 89.
Well, you're for a treat in a few minutes. Ha-ho.
Yeah, definitely. And so, so for me, so when we did get back into the Monkees in high school, I kind of knew like, oh yeah, the Monkees. Yeah. They're funny. And I just knew the show for the most part.
Yeah.
Oh, and like the hits.
Do you have any specific memories of the show watching it at Granny's place back then?
Not enough to pick
Probably
out an episode.
Overlaid by your other Monkey memories watching it again in the 90s. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a show I thought was funny. And I remember thinking I really liked Davy. I thought he was my favorite off the bat. I think because he was like little, and I was little. So
he's relatable back then.
Yeah, and he always got the girls, and I thought that was cool. So I like Davy. But yeah, so that's my 1989.
Yeah, I was like 12 most of the year, I guess. I guess that's how time works. And yeah, I was not in high school yet, and I was in the gifted class. And It was a weird time for music in general because like hair metal was fading out, and like it was just like Aerosmith and like Guns N' Roses. They were like the big bands at the time who weren't really hair metal, but they were kind of like more serious. But and it was also what you might call the golden age of hip hop. Would you say, Paco?
It's coming up to one of them. It was like the beginning of like
it's on the rise big time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got like where hip hop eventually went. This is where it started to congeal into that kind of sound and like lots of samples and that kind of thing. That's what I was really into when I was younger, was hip hop. So old school hip hop now, but at the time it was new school.
And it's weird to think of how the Monkees are just another climate for the Monkees to try to like make a dent in and show up on TV shows and try to get some attention. And
so weird.
They've literally been through it all.
Yeah, for real. Because now when you look back at these interviews, it's like, wow, they look so young. And if you grew up with the Monkees, like if say you're a teenager or like an early, like a tween, when the Monkees came out originally, when they come out again in like 1989, probably to you, it does not feel that long ago that the Monkees were. So it was like 20 years ago, essentially. A little
over 20 years.
Yeah.
And
so it'd be like the turn of the century now for us. And it's like, that does not seem that long ago, but
yeah, for sure.
It'd be like the Strokes now coming out. It's like, oh yeah, of course the Strokes, they're everywhere. It's like they've been around for like 25 years.
Anyway, our first clip today comes from something called the Pat Sajak Show, which I think was a syndicated deal. I don't know if it was a network-specific thing. You see, at the time, Johnny Carson was just wrapping up his gig at The Tonight Show, which had dominated the late-night viewing schedule for years. And Jay Leno was going to take over, but a lot of pretenders to the throne were throwing their hat in the ring around this time. Like Chevy Chase had a show. Joan Rivers had jumped shipped over to Fox with The Late Show. And Arsenio, I think, was picking up steam.
Maybe.
And, And
like,
also Pat Sajak was around. And Pat Sajak is, he hosts a show called Wheel of Fortune in America, well, North America. And it's probably aired around the world, but maybe not everywhere. But he was already famous for hosting a game show, and he wanted to host a talk show. And the show he hosts Wheel of Fortune, which is like Hangman with a big colorful wheel. And he's been doing this. He still does it. It's been 40-something years, and he is America's most over-it game show host at this point.
Yeah, he's very quick and very funny. And I think that's why a talk show could have really suited him well.
Yeah, he's kind of a neutral personality. He's a friendly dude, and you see it come through here. He like knows how to talk to people, knows how to make them look good, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember he left Wheel of Fortune when he got this show. And then he did this for a few years, I guess, and then went back to it to kick it.
It wasn't around forever. It didn't get canceled right away, I don't think, but it was not like super successful. I think it lasted longer than Chevy Chase's show, which is just fine.
Yeah, that show was in and out. And again, he was another guy who everybody thought was going to take over the Tonight Show. But I think everyone hated him too much.
Chevy Chase is too much of an asshole to be any sort of host.
Yeah.
To expect him to give a shit about other people it's a big ask.
I remember when I did watch his show when it came out, because I loved Chevy Chase when I was young. I still now it's conflicting.
Fletch?
It's conflicting now with Chevy Chase because he is such an asshole. But I remember he had a piano, and when he was interviewing people, he'd play the piano at the same time. There's like ambience music, and so that's the one thing I remember. But anyway, so yeah, the Pat Sajak Show, the Monkees come out. It's the three of them, like Micky, Davy, Peter, and when they come out, they are shot out of a cannon. They are all over the place, going crazy.
Yeah, man.
And they're just singing. No one. Davy has a tambourine. Yeah, but that's it. And they sing "Stepping Stone" right off the bat. At one part, Micky does a spin move and he knocks the mic over, but catches it before it gets away from him, and even gives Peter a little look to be like, "Whoa, see that?" Like,
it's a minute 30 into this clip, and you see him do it when you start singing the second verse, I think,
Yeah.
And then he catches the mic. He's like, "Oh, I'm hot shit." And then they cut to Pete, and he's like, "Nah, whatever." Peter's like unimpressed.
Yeah, Peter in this performance, Peter's weird in both of these performances, in both of these shows, I guess. But
it's particularly odd when he doesn't have an instrument.
Yeah. I don't think he knows what to do with himself. And so he's just kind of bouncing around, and like it's pretty much they're all singing the whole time, it seems.
Yes. And the band itself is off to the side.
Yeah.
It's a weird setup, but yeah, as the boys giving her looking super 80s.
Yeah, Mickey looks great though.
Oh yeah. Yes, he does. And I believe this was June 30th, 1989.
Oh wow.
And they had been on the road, and it's like kind of in the middle of the whole thing.
That was a great time, June 30th, 89, I'll tell you what. Then when they go and they sit down, they're like a bag of dropped marbles because they're all over the place. Like, it's insane how much energy they have. I don't know if they're all on cocaine or whatever the heck, but they are just everywhere.
It's ridiculous. What is that, Peter?
It's part of George's story.
You're a very sick boy. You got that right. A very sick boy.
Well, I think Pete's on something.
It seems like it. And it's also one of the guests before them, you can see on the couch, is George Hamilton.
Yeah, that is unreal.
Yeah, Mr. Leatherface. And
it's strange seeing him with dark hair.
I thought that too. And it's also that, I don't know, when you see like older talk shows, they seemed way more loose than they do now. And so like they're kind of talking to Hamilton, and he's talking back to them, and Pat says some stuff, and it kind of is just like this free for all with the Monkees in the middle of it.
And also June 30th, apparently in 1972 was the date Joanne was on the charts.
Also, do you know that on this date in 1972, Joanne was the #1 song in this country?
Yeah, Mike Nesmith's tune.
I don't know if Pat Sajak thought that was a Monkees song, because the boys kind of they take it, they play it off okay, but like, dude.
It must have been like one of his staff just said, "Oh, hey, look." And they just knew Mike Nesmith was in the Monkees. Like, "Oh, hey, yeah, they have the song in the charts." Oh, yeah, okay, let's bring that up. And at one point...
It's bound to not be awkward.
Yeah. Okay, now, do you find whenever the Monkees are on a talk show, even when Mickey was recently on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, it feels like awkward? Like, as a fan, I'm always like on the edge of my seat. Like, oh my God, how's this going to go? Just because the Monkees are like, they're in their own orbit.
Yes.
And so then when they're talking to people outside of the orbit, or other people who don't know much or anything about the Monkees are watching them, they must be like, what a weird group of people these are. What a weird person Mickey Dolenz is. Just because, it's just like the stories they tell. I think they're so used to telling fans that when they just have to tell people, they don't quite go over as well as they do with fans.
Like, they've only told these stories 500,000 times, not 1 million yet.
Yeah.
So
Mickey's pushing 1 million now.
But they're quick with a little improv comedy here and there. They'll grab a prop. If someone mentions something, they'll come up with a little riff like on the spot.
Yeah, definitely. And at one point, Davy's talking to George Hamilton, because I believe it was like a horse race, and he presented the winner. Yes. And it might have been one of Davy's things or something. Because they have like a conversation that no one has any idea what they're talking about.
I actually have to thank him, because I was watching him on television in England a couple of weeks ago when they were running the Derby, and he gave the winner. Oh. Indian River, right? Thank you very much.
Somebody won something,
How
it sounds
like.
How
did you know, George?
They're talking about a horse race. I guess Hamilton either, I don't know, tipped them off on who the winner was going to be or whatever, and it's really a little inside moment with a couple famous people.
Yeah, it was weird. It's another weird situation. And they plug the Hollywood Bowl show with Mike, or maybe not the Hollywood Bowl, but they're playing.
They're gonna get the star on the Walk of Fame, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they were gonna have Mike around for that, but he was still not touring with them.
No.
But let's give a shout out to the screaming people in the audience.
Holy man, people are happy to see the Monkees.
Now, speaking of young women, when you were getting these screams when you first started, and the young girls were chasing you,
they got a handful of people, and when Pete does how he controls the crowd,
yeah, gets them to cheer and gets them to shut up like on a dime.
We particularly like the control. That's it. Ready?
Boy, that was good.
That was a cute little moment. And when they talk about their kids, like the idea of like grown-up rock stars who are like 40-ish and have children. This is kind of a new concept because rock and roll is only like 25 years old itself. And a lot of rock stars didn't make it this far, either fame-wise or life-wise.
Yep.
So it's kind of an accomplishment for the Monkees to be, you know, on tour, on TV. People are still screaming. It's like kind of a big deal.
For real. And it's one of the weirdest things about the Monkees. It's like people who aren't into them be like, who would care? Who would care about this? And then I think if they go to a show or if they see something with the Monkees, like, oh my God, like people really still care about this band. And it's like, yeah, we sure do.
Everybody except the Monkees' own kids, apparently.
100%, of course.
They talk about how they react to them. And Peter tells a very clumsy story about getting an autograph of Rowdy Piper, who he misnames brutally in his anecdote.
When Roddy McDowell was passed away, I got his autograph from my son. He was all over me. Dad, God, thanks, Dad. Rowdy McPiper. He was a wrestler.
Right, McDowell is somebody else.
Yeah, I'll get
Roddy
it straight.
McDowell rarely wrestles.
Anyway, my kid liked this guy, and that was insanity for him.
He never gets the name right. He says like, and even Pat Sajak is like Roddy Piper. Like, come on, man. He calls him like
Roddy McDowell very rarely wrestles.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, Peter, what is going on? It's a very awkward interview, the whole thing, I found. And at one point, Pat brings up the new Monkees.
Did you guys pay any attention a couple of years ago when they had this search for the new Monkees? And I think they even.
Oh, no.
Well,
be nice.
Well, they did.
Be nice.
They
Poor
did a
guys.
TV show. They did their best. Yeah.
And,
did it bother you? Did it?
Oh no. We wish them the best of luck and.
Not their series, but them personally.
Yes.
I suggested that we went after their families.
Oh, by this time, the new Monkees was dead and buried.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like
so
fine
old.
with how that played out. It was probably the first time anybody mentioned the new Monkees in a year and a half.
You know what? I bet you the new Monkees seemed longer ago than the original Monkees seemed in 1989 because they got buried so deep.
I'm not sure we mentioned it on our new Monkees episode, but it took longer to find the new Monkees than it took for the show to get canceled.
That's crazy. Poor new Monkees. So,
but Sajak's doing a pretty good job. He hits all the notes. Like he talks about the ad in the paper. He talks about the new Monkees. He talks about how they're a fake band and the crowd boos them again.
Now there was a rap on you guys when you're first getting started that hey, these are not real musicians and performers. It's kind of a manufactured group and they don't really have. Hey, I'm just reporting what was in the papers.
Yeah, and the cool thing when he talks about the wanted ad in the papers, like he has a printout of it, like a big enlargement of it that he pulls out, and the guy's like, "Oh my God, yeah, there it is. That's it."
Yeah, that's not as easy to find back then as it is now.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I bet
he printed it off a Commodore 64.
Yeah, you can see it still has the holes on the side of the pages.
The tractor feed, frou, yes.
Yeah.
They did not launch into the Jimi Hendrix whole deal, which I had a feeling they were going to, but then they didn't. Yeah,
I thought so too. But then they get to play another song, and Pat Sajak is stoked. He's like, "Oh, this is my favorite Monkee song. Did you guys do this for me?" And like, yeah, we did. And then they go off.
Sure thing, Pat.
Yeah, and then they play Pleasant Valley Sunday, which was cool.
Yes.
Actually, my favorite Monkee song. Did you choose it just for me? Oh, these guys. Ladies and gentlemen, the Monkees.
I wish they would have taken the time to teach that guitar player the riff.
100%. That's the first thing. I didn't even really, I couldn't decide if he was trying to play that or Clarksville because it just sounded so clunky. I was like, this guy doesn't.
With it too.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy doesn't know what's going on here. And then I was like, oh, okay. And it was just like, bro, what are you doing here? You don't know what's going on. And then when they start to play, George Hamilton comes back out and gives each of them $1 bill.
That's a lot of money back then. Pop.
Yeah, exactly. You could buy a case of pop. And so, and again, that goes back to the looseness of talk shows in the past. Like, he just saunters on while the band's playing and gives them $1.
Yeah. is definitely a different vibe. Like, this was like a nighttime talk show, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But it feels like a daytime talk show. Like, it doesn't feel as stodgy as like the Tonight Show did back when Johnny and Ed were on it. It's not a stuffy grown-up thing with the big band and all that.
But even then, on the show, the guys come out and they'd have drinks and be talking to each other, and it was a very loose. I think maybe in the later years, perhaps it got more tightened up, but in the older days, you see Dean Martin
feels
come
less
out.
grown up than the Tonight Show did at the time, because it was definitely getting old back then.
I think it's just less professionalism. But yeah, and during the song too, Peter again, he's turned right up and kind of acting like a jackass. Like, it's just like, oh my God, dude. Like,
They are boogieing around, and I thought you'd have more to say about their attire, Paco.
yeah, I think the next one we talk about, their attire blew me away more. So I kind of focus on that.
They do-
But I do
they
like
do
Mickey's
step up.
hat. Mickey's got the same hat he has in the picture of them with the walk on the Walk of Fame.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was in the box set. And he's got that kind. It's not a cowboy hat. It's not quite a Crocodile Dundee hat. It's somewhere in the middle.
It's a general exploring hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Mickey has taken over the role of the one with the hat from
Yeah.
here on out.
Pretty much, right? But yeah, overall, the Pat Sajak Show, we definitely say it's on YouTube. Go check it out. Even just to see a very young Pat Sajak as well.
That is pretty cool. What can you do? It didn't work out for old Pat, but it's good to see the Monkees on the show here. And good song choices.
Great song choices. That was the thing that blew me away kind of the most. Like, opening with Steppin' Stone. Again, like in 89, that was my favorite. If I'd known this was on, I probably would have watched it. And then Pleasant Valley Sundays, not a song you would think they'd go to for a talk show song.
Up next on our trip back to 1989, we got a clip from Nashville Now, which aired on the Nashville Network, a.k.a. TNN, on August 15th, 1989. Now, TNN was originally the Nashville Network, based out of Nashville, and very country-centric. It later evolved to just TNN, not necessarily Nashville stuff, evolved to Spike TV, and then, which played like Cops 12 hours a day, most of the time for a while. And then, I don't even know what it is now. Is Spike TV still a thing? I haven't had cable for a few years.
I don't know what wasn't MXC also on Spike TV?
Ooh, I think you're right. Now, that was a
had
show.
like extreme sports as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a ridiculous channel.
It was the Axe body spray of channels.
I was gonna say it's the Monster Energy drink of channels, but yeah, it's the same thing
Yeah,
essentially.
it's like there's some sort of bond between us, cuz.
Yeah.
Anyway, here on Nashville Now, it's hosted by Roger Miller, who is a country music demigod. He sings King of the Road.
King of the road.
And Nashville Now is a country show. Like,
All the way.
it's a down home, like just his voice and the set even and everything about it just oozes country, which is kind of surprising why the Monkees showed up on the Nashville Network.
Well, as we're about to see, they're kind of prepared for such an event, and you can't say that about every rock and roll band.
It's true. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Where we're going here.
And right away, Roger Miller seems to have some brief technical difficulties.
I was gonna say he's lost right off the bat.
When my next guest took over the airwaves in the mid-'60s, am I on? I just can't hear me.
It's like a cable access show, completely flabbergasted, back from commercial break.
But he makes a really astute observation about it, like being the beginning of the video age.
In the mid-'60s, little did we know that we were experiencing the dawn of a video age. Actually, when I first saw him, I wasn't sure what I was experiencing, but I knew I liked it.
Yeah, they get into it in the interview later, but yeah, he's like, it was the start of something, and he knew that. And like, for him to point that out is it's an astute observation by Roger Miller.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like he just seems like a good old boy, kind of naive, but you can tell he knows what's going on and what he's doing as a host of a show.
Yeah, he's a pro.
Yeah, he is. But the ambiance makes you feel that it's not going to be a professional vibe in the place.
Exactly.
But it's also a show that was on all the time. So he's been doing it for a while.
Knows the business, and then he lets the boys get right to it, doesn't he?
Yep. And so so the boys come out, and right away Peter looks rough. Like he just came in after a 4-day bender on the streets. Like
they just poked him with a stick after a heroin nap. I think.
Man, his hair is ridiculous. It's all over the place.
Make sure you get my good side. I don't think there is a good side, Pete.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, go in the other room. Because I don't know what was going on, and we'll get into what they're wearing later, just to keep you waiting on that one, because they are all.
It's the only reason anybody's listening, Paco.
The fashion.
For red carpet Paco to tear down the fashion.
Man, I could do it now if you want.
No, you could. Let's save it up.
Yeah, okay. So they play Daydream Believer with the most country looking band.
Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
Ever.
Yup.
The one guy has like a Rickenbacker, but he's sitting in a chair, and it's like between his knees, and he's playing it like up, almost like how you play a banjo, kind of.
Yeah.
And it's
what is this rock and roll?
Yeah, and it's just a Rickenbacker on stage with a country band looks weird to me for some reason.
Little bit. It's not as versatile as a Strat.
Yeah.
Or a Telly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, he's doing it. But so they're all just playing. They're all just singing. I mean, for this song.
Yes.
And they're all acting super weird and ad-libby.
The shaving razor's cold. Ooh, it stinks.
Yeah, and Peter's being weird, and yeah, it's just an interesting
They mentioned it during the interview. It is winding down now. It's a month and a half after that Pat Sajak thing, and it's winding down.
It looks like it's 6 years later.
For Pete, certainly.
Yeah,
but they might be kind of getting a little ready for the next thing by this point.
Yeah, but it really makes it seem like if we thought the Pat Sajak Show was loose, this Nashville Now is something else.
When I say ready for the next thing for Pete might be a blood transfusion.
Yeah, at the very least, a long nap. He needs both. And honestly, when Peter's saying, I'm not even sure his mic is on, because he's kind of hopping in and out, and you can't really tell. And then there's a weird saxophone solo going on too during the chorus.
Everybody sing along. Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to
The guy who usually plays the jug.
Yeah, exactly.
To give him something else to play.
Cheer up,
First day with the sax.
sleepy Jean. Boom, 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 boom. Just horfing in the jug. So then the song wraps up and they go bouncing over to the host there. And the host has no idea who writes what.
Hey, let me ask you something. Did Neil Diamond write that song just then?
No, John Stewart.
John Stewart, yeah.
Daydream Believer. Neil Diamond wrote something.
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I'm a
And
believer.
Murray had a hit with that too a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Mickey is quick to point out he wrote I'm a Believer and also A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You.
Yep.
But it was neat, the little thing where they talk about how Roger knew them back on the show.
Yeah.
I think they were both at NBC at the time, and they had they go back. They're buddies.
Well, do you remember the day we
There's
saw
more
you?
of us, Roger.
We saw you down at Burbank Studio when you were filming your TV show. I've got a great picture on my wall at home in England of the four of us with you outside your limo. You know, you're standing there.
I want
Pretty
you
cool.
to send me that.
Lemon.
I'm
That was a
going to,
lemon.
sure.
It's a lemon. It's actually one of those
Standing outside
Cal
his
Worthington
lemon.
lemons, I think.
And Mickey says, he's like,
Why is it I always start talking like this when I come to Nashville?
it's just like, I don't know if he's making fun of them or what he's doing, just being Mickey, I guess.
I think that's just Mick reading the room and adapting to the environment.
Yeah. He talks about Mickey. Well, you were famous before the Monkees because you were in Circus Boy.
You know, Mickey was a star before the Monkees, a child star. as they say, circus boy.
Yeah.
I'm
It's great. It's terrific. It's the best show on earth. The circus will be in town today.
He's going to do a new show. It's going to be called Circus Man.
Circus Man.
Yeah.
And then it goes into like a live commercial that Roger does to the camera.
Oh my God. It's my favorite part of the whole thing.
Oh my God.
Nashville Now, just for a second, if you will. They've been trying to get my attention for a while. Nashville Now is brought to you by Goodies. Headache. I thought Goodies was a gumdrop. I'm sorry. By Goodies provides fast pain relief with the most effective combination of ingredients you can buy without a prescription. That's a lie. Well, anyway, I just say.
I'm not sure what the good people at Goodies Headache Powder did to Roger Miller, but boy, oh boy, he is not interested in promoting them whatsoever.
He calls them liars.
It's like, you can't get a stronger thing without a prescription. Well, that's a lie.
Yeah. So Roger doesn't give a crap who's paying the
They cut
bill.
to some kid in the audience is like, oh, Roger. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah, Roger's gonna Raj.
Roger's gonna Raj.
So then they go to a commercial and they come back, and then the boys play one of the bottom cuts on the Randomatic Countdown.
A song that needs no introduction and deserves no introduction.
D.W. Washburn.
D.W. Washburn.
I heard a sweet voice say,
D.W. Washburn.
this is your lucky day.
Yeah, but one good thing is Peter has a banjo.
Yes.
And he's playing it. And if just going technically, it's a very good rendition of the song. Like, it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
So, you know, and again, they're on the Nashville network. You got to play to your audience, right? So they're going to pull out DW. And it's almost like, man, if they're probably thinking, if only we got Nez to come for this one here, he could like play Saginaw or you know, something
way deep.
Yeah. To really reel him
Mike
in.
style tune would have been pretty rad. And we'll get to the next song in a minute.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this song just lets Mickey do his extra ham thing.
Does he ever, man? He really plays it up.
Yeah.
So then they finish that song, and then they're all sitting on the chairs kind of thing. And then Davy says, like, hey, how about we play one of Michael's songs? And then Mickey launches into full Mickey.
Hey, Mickey, why don't you do one of the songs that Michael used to sing?
Yeah, what a good idea. Michael Jackson. I'm bad! I'm bad!
No, not Michael Jackson. Michael.
Oh,
Michael.
So stupid. George Michael. I've got to have faith.
No, Michael.
Michael. Oh, Michael Jordan.
Mickey,
No.
Michael Jordan didn't even play music.
Peter, would you get on with Michael Nesmith?
Oh,
Michael
this
Nesmith. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They start to play What Am I Doing Hanging Round, which is pretty awesome. And Peter sings it.
Just a loudmouth Yankee, I went down to Mexico. I didn't have much time to spend, about a week or so. Then I lightly took advantage of a girl who loved me so. And I found myself a-thinking when the time had come to go.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, which is really cool. And he's also playing the banjo again as well for that. And yeah, it's cool to see that they played a Mike Nesmith. I guess they kind of again had to if they're trying to stick somewhat country, because I don't know if I Want to Be Free is gonna work.
It's not a written by Mike song. It's I forget who wrote it, but it's like Mike sang it originally. It's kind of a Mike tune.
Yeah,
and they could have done Listen to the Band, which they do a lot without Mike.
Yeah, true.
I think a couple of the times I've seen them, they do play Listen to the Band without Mike. But it's just, but they did good. This was a good stop at the old TNN. Yeah, it seems they're getting kind of beat.
Yeah, it's something else.
What do you got to say about them duds?
I was
Pac?
gonna say we can get into the wardrobe here. Okay, it's fucking atrocious. Like each one of them. Davy is wearing this I don't know what kind of royal blue suit. It almost looks like a villain from the 70s Doctor Who.
Because
it's only got
it's on backwards.
Yeah, there's no collar, and there's buttons going kind of down the side, so the whole fabric wraps around him.
Yeah,
and the pants match exactly. It's almost like a jumpsuit. And his is the best out of what everybody's wearing. Because
that's not promising.
Is wearing like denim pajamas. It's got some.
Mickey's raiding Bev Goldberg's closet again.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe what he's wearing. It's almost like it's opened up too, so he has like a t-shirt underneath, but it's got some kind of pattern on it. But I can't tell
like
what it is.
Planets or headphone, like music stuff. I'm not sure.
I also thought it was
weird.
sheep at one point. I couldn't tell what it was.
It's possible.
Okay, now Peter, oof. Now Peter, he's wearing like my grandma's curtains or something. It's like enormous on him. It almost looks like David Byrne in the Talking Heads when he wore that enormous suit. Except Peter doesn't have the shoulder pads in it, so it's just like draped down to his knees.
It's weird look.
And just because of Peter's overall disheveledness of this whole thing, you're just like, what happened? Like, if you hadn't seen the Monkees since the 60s, essentially, like, oh, the Monkees are on Nashville Now, let's watch this. And you saw this, you'd be like, what happened to Peter? Like, it's unreal. And I don't mean to rag on Peter with this, but you can't not watch this episode and be like, what happened here?
I think Pete was the least excited about what was coming next.
I agree.
The least on the docket. Like, I think Mickey still had kind of a career directing in England and stuff.
Because they do talk about that, his directing career and all that in England.
Yeah, which is a neat thing to mention.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And then Davy said he's going back to doing plays and stuff, doing all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think Peter was like, okay, cool. Now
You just said somebody to keep doing the rock and roll, and like, okay, go back to not getting paid to do music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take it back to my roots. But yeah, and so anyway, and that's Nashville Now episode.
It's different vibe from the Pat Sajak Show. A lot less Hollywood, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like the Pat Sajak Show was a low budget show trying to look high budget. And the Nashville Now show was like a higher budget show, but trying to look down home.
Yes, I think you nailed it there, Paco.
And it's almost like the Nashville show worked better as a talk. And also that show went on forever, from what I recall anyway.
I think you're right. It was like their flagship show.
Yeah. It was. I can honestly say I probably never ever watched it in my life, but I always knew it was on because it goes zipping past TNN.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so there you go. I encourage everybody to check these out now that we've talked about them. And I don't know if we talked about them enough that you're like, I want to see this. Or if you're like, I don't ever want to see these at all.
But it's pretty neat. And it's pretty neat that the technology and the availability of these things is such that we can start to get caught up on these old clips from when we were like too young to be like into it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it was just lost to the land of winds and ghosts. But now we can just look it up and watch it whenever.
And it does shed some light on this time of the Monkees where they're not putting anything out, but they're still out there doing it.
Like, Pool It is 2 years in the rear view. The new Monkees came and went. Whatever momentum they had is kind of fizzling out. And you really don't know what's next for them.
Well, really, you don't hear from them again until Justice and the TV special and all that.
Yeah, like we heard about him on reruns in the 90s on Much Music, which is Canadian MTV, except it was better but less cool. And it was like, I think Mickey put out his book.
Yep, that's right, yeah.
And like I picked it up the other day and read the intro, his forward, and it's kind of like the Shatner speech on SNL. When he's telling the Star Trek fans, "Gotta get a life." He's like, "This is a show I did." Like, wait, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, "This is 20, 30 years ago. Move on, people."
Yeah.
General vibe like that. in case anyone was going to pick on him or critique his knowledge of the details. Like, just let me tell the story. Just back off.
Yeah.
Also, let's plug it real quick. I'm a Believer, written by Micky Dolenz, the book. A+.
It's a great book. Yeah. I also have it. We put a bunch of our books in storage, but I kept that one out. And I was like, no, I'd like to revisit this one.
That was super important in terms of our fanship of the Monkees. And
definitely, because it was the only new thing.
To hear Mickey's story of it all is so cool.
Yeah. He has cool ways of doing it, like a script. Like fade in, exterior, beach, day. And
that made it extra cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So that was that. And up next, we've decided to do one of our famous live reactions to some Monkee music. Now, Paco and I have not seen this yet. On one of the comment sections of one of our recent countdown videos, got into a discussion about Through the Looking Glass. And somebody mentioned a video clip from 1989. I'm pretty sure this is the one they're talking about, but perhaps they'll let us know.
Yeah.
It was a conversation with one of our commenters, the Mo Muzak. I'm not sure if it's a Muzak reference. The dude's name is Mo and he's into Muzak. Don't know. But the Mo Muzak sent us some comments. Feel free, everybody. Send us some comments on the YouTube page. And we pointed out this. We thought maybe we should check out this live version because I think we mentioned when we got to it on the countdown that I don't think we'd seen a live version of it.
Yeah.
So I think we're about to right about now. Okay.
What is Davy wearing? Like a grinder monkey outfit.
So this is earlier in the year, Birmingham, UK.
Yeah, so we got Peter on the keys there.
Everybody loves it.
Oh my goodness, look at Mickey there.
Oh, he's beautiful.
So Mickey's got almost like a Chiquita banana suit on or something.
Oh. Jesus.
Oh my God.
Whoa, look at the rack on Mickey.
Mickey's got like a sports bra on, essentially.
Look, these people do not want to see me dressed like this. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, no,
So,
you don't.
is Davy dressed up like a matador?
Yeah, it looks like.
So this is definitely like a skit going on.
Yes. Extreme crowd work.
Oh, sexy jokes.
I like it when they're a little risky.
That's right. Mickey's in great shape. He's showing off the abs. So he's got a big boa and he's spinning it around as he's singing in this dress. He's got pantyhose on too.
Beautiful.
This show would be banned in Arkansas right now.
No doubt. Good thing they didn't bust this out on Nashville Network. But when you picture Mickey singing this song in general, you kind of expect him to be strutting around the stage.
For
doing
sure.
something glammy, right?
I didn't picture him wearing a dress and a halter top.
Not quite this far.
No.
But at least a boa, I think.
Man, I wonder how they decided. Oh, Mickey's strutting.
Yeah, buddy.
So I wonder, yeah, when they're deciding what to do, they're like, you know what, we should have a part. It's where Mickey comes out in drag, and Davy dances with him dressed as a matador. And how did Peter get away with just being dressed up as Peter?
Well, he snuck off stage. He's got to go tune up the banjo, apparently.
You just tell someone to shut up?
Yep.
You gotta be kidding. I know the note. I know the note. What a way to make a living. Oh my God.
Here we go.
What's the note?
Woo!
Attaboy, Nick.
Amazing. See, if he was wearing a full shirt, he would have never hit that note.
Oh boy, that felt good. That's okay. Dave, I'm ready to go now. Hit it, big boy.
Really getting into this now.
Showing a lot of leg there, Mickey.
Those are not the legs of an athlete.
Yeah, oh yeah. And the rack of a porn star. I think the bass player has a headless bass.
Oh, yeah. That's how you know it's the 80s.
It's true. And the drummer has 2,000 drums.
Mickey's not quite hitting those album version notes, tell you what.
That would... Could you imagine? All the glass would break. So just so you know, Mickey's like dancing around, trying to keep the song going, and Davy's pulling him off stage.
He's doing the Mary Mary thing from the on tour, where he just wants to keep doing it.
Yeah. Mickey. Ooh, pelvic thrusts. When you pelvic thrust at Davy, it's like your pelvic is going right in his face. He's so little.
Davy's dragging him out.
That's funny. Oh man, his dress has come down a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow, Davy just picked Mickey up and carried him off stage.
Davy is strong.
Woo. Low center of gravity.
Man, oh man. Jockey muscles.
It always, yeah, exactly.
Crowd goes wild. Mickey Dolenz, ladies and gentlemen.
How could you not?
Thank you very much. The middle-aged Vic. Or the thespian
what have we
team
here?
of Dolenz and Jones, an act as exciting as its name. I'm going to do for you now.
Peter looks great compared to the interviews we just saw.
Yeah.
He looks healthy and awesome. And his jokes are killing.
Where it was so strong that it was in the top 10 or higher for the entire decade 1870 to 1880. Do it for you now. It's called Cripple Creek, and it goes something like this.
Oh.
It goes exactly like
There
this.
it is. There it is.
Wow, Pete. Yeah, this is like April '89. We've gone back to earlier in the year, I think.
Yeah. And here at Cripple Creek Live, it always kills. I'm surprised they didn't do this on Nashville Now, actually. This would have been a...
No joke, man.
This would have really...
Not sure Pete was in the condition.
That's a very good point.
Have some fun.
See, Peter's got like the pleated 80s pants, like the loud looking shirt kind of, but it looks great. He looks great.
Does.
Look at him. Oh, wow.
He's in the zone. And these limey Brits are loving this Appalachian hillbilly music.
For real, eh? Oh, someone stood up in front of the camera.
Down in front.
There we go. Woo.
Whoa. Little technical difficulties.
Little nod
Recurring
to
theme in our 89 show.
Yeah, it's a nod to Jimi Hendrix opening.
Jimmy taught him Cripple Creek.
Oh, it's like right now you can like hear the person with the camera talking to people around them.
Yeah. Shit's fucked. Yeah, something's wrong with the thing.
Probably just asking people to get out of the way. Oh, okay.
Whoa.
It just cut to some like old Monkees footage of them running around in the rafters. I thought it was Pete doing like an Eddie Vedder.
I guess they had weird. I wonder if they just scrapped the video for this.
I think they must have. I think someone got in front of them and they couldn't see anything, so they just put up some video of the guys running around the rafters of the studio.
Huh. Even this video is a bit raggedy.
Oh, look at these graphics.
Birmingham. April 9th, yeah. Hilarious. Oh, wow.
Oh, interesting.
Well, that's about it for the clip here, though.
I think so, yeah.
It's going to wrap up before it gets to the
I'm
next one.
going to stop it right now.
Me too. But, yeah, wow.
That was something else.
That's a different look at the Monkees for sure.
For sure. Here's a question now. So looking at these Monkees here, and they've got like a whole act, a whole skit, the costume changes and all that stuff. Like it's more of a comedy act with music as well, or music with comedy act. But anyway,
yeah.
Do you think now, it's like the Mike and Mickey show, where it's just like there's no more comedies, there's still talk and still have funny things to say and stuff. But do you think like he appreciated just going out there and doing song, more of a concert? Or do you think Mickey really likes doing these kind of things with like a skit and all that stuff?
It's a good question. I think it kind of serves both sides of why people are into the Monkees.
Yep.
People love the music, but they also love the guys, and they love the guys being silly. And like the show we saw, it was like packed with tunes. And I just looked up the set list for this particular show at the Birmingham Hippodrome in Birmingham, England. And there's 33 songs, including the encore. Would you like to go through it real quick?
Yeah, hit me up.
All right. Last Train to Clarksville. Little Bit Me, Little Bit You. Pleasant Valley Sunday. Cuddly Toy. No Time. Your Auntie Griselda. I'll Be True to You. Going Down. Shades of Grey. Zilch. Randy Scow Skit. I Want to Be Free. That Was Then, This Is Now. Valerie. The Bach thing that Peter does on the piano. Then Through the Looking Glass. MGBGT. Every Step of the Way. Cripple Creek. Man, I wish we would have seen Every Step of the Way in between there. But, and yeah, then it was like an acoustic thing. There's a little acoustic set, which includes When Love Comes Knocking at Your Door, Sometime in the Morning, which would have been awesome. Take a Giant Step, which Peter does. Good Clean Fun, which Davy does. And Papa Gene Blues, which Peter does. And then Mickey does What Am I Doing Hanging Around acoustic, similar to what we just saw on TNN, I'm sure. And then they plug the instruments back in. They do She. They do It's a Nice to Be With You, one of your favorites. For Pete's Sake, Stepping Stone, Daydream Believer, then they scoot, then they come back, and then they do, it says Diddy Diego War Chant, but probably that weird-ass 80s rap version of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then listen to the band, and I'm a Believer, back on the plane.
No, that is a lot of music. Holy smokes. Even then they do this comedy acts and all this stuff. It's like a 4-hour show, like Bruce Springsteen.
For real. It's like 3 albums worth of tunes, plus all the sketches and probably extended goofing around of certain songs. And like, it was a long-ass show, for sure. And I don't know if every show is like this. I'm not sure how many shows they did in the UK or whatever. I don't think they played this show every stop in the States or whatever. But it's a big, big show.
Wow. Look out. Look out.
Get back, Jack.
I hope people enjoyed this special. It kind of just seemed like us talking about stuff and then talking over stuff. But
that's what we do here at Podcast Valley Sunday.
It's true. And if anyone else has other like live clips or talk show clips or something, let us know about them. We'll check them out and maybe talk about them on another episode we got coming up here on Podcast
Let us know what
Valley
you were up
Sunday.
to in '89, how your Monkees fandom had developed by then.
Yeah. Or if you got into them later, just how did you get into the Monkees? Let us know. We're always into that.
For sure.
Indeed, indeed. So next time we'll be back. We'll be hitting up the Randomatic Countdown, doing the top 50. Obviously not in one show, but we're going to start at number 50 and start getting into the goods.
I think we're going to do one song per show for the rest of it.
The next 50 shows.
We got to keep this thing going.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. Well, we hope you all dug it today. We dug it. I had a good time looking at these clips.
I dug as well.
Nice, nice. All right, y'all. So we'll see you all soon, or you'll hear us all soon, I suppose. So from me, Paco.
And me, Jeff.
Have yourselves a Monkees little evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.